Yo, dudes, what up? Welcome back to another video. I know I said I wasn't going to make a video this week, but I had a filming job get cancelled, so I've ended up with 2 days of my weekend free. So I want to make a video. And I've been meaning to do this one for ages, and that's what it is right there. What I've done is I've bolted 2 GoPros, well this is actually a DJI camera, and a GoPro. I've bolted them to a plate, and my idea is to put them in the river, film upstream, and film towards myself. So you get a perspective of what a fish would see when you're trying to catch it, like sight fishing to a fish. I've often wondered what a fish sees, because in this river particularly I've spooked a lot of fish sight fishing to them, and I just wonder what gives it away. So hopefully today I'll find out. Anyway, this river it's a pretty clear river. It's renowned for being super clear. A lot of people call it the way too hardy. It's called the Waitanui. Fish are challenging to catch in here. So that's my plan for the day, is to figure out what a fish sees when you're trying to catch it. All right. Go dunk this in the water. Alright, both of these are recording. I really hope this is heavy enough. I'm going to put this right where I see fish a lot, you know, quite a lot of the time. Geez, I haven't thought this through. How am I going to get that down there? First up, I just got my regular rig. It's got a regular size indicator. It's got a category 3 pole position, which is quite a bright fly, and a category 3 101, which is quite a heavy fly. So I haven't done anything crazy or different. I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible, and I'm also going to stand roughly where I'd fished. You can get quite close to these fish. Like I've caught this fish standing right where I am before, but I just want to see what this looks like. I'll just point out the, I think, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, it's a pale thing right there. So let's just see what we can see. Generally that would have been an okay cast that probably would have went over the fish. Not sure about that one. Should be pretty good. So that, like, if a fish was there, he probably would have eaten that last cast there. Alright, so I've been through a lot of this footage, and I have to come to you here and sort of explain what's going on, because if I just showed it to you while I was fishing, you wouldn't see or pick up on anything probably. With the category 3, the little nymph and the 101, I couldn't see anything. I didn't pick up a single thing. I looked at it for so long, back and forth, slowed it down. I could not find my flies once. So it wasn't until I put the egg on and the piece of split shot that I was able to find the flies. So here's some of that now. So that was 3 clips, and you can see the flies in all 3 of them. You might have to watch it back. I'll slow a couple down for you now. But the first thing you'll notice is this is considered a very, very clear river. I already knew it wasn't because I put my GoPro under there quite a few times. And I think it's because of the pumice and the type of substrate that the river's made up of. It's got a lot of debris floating down. Those are actually a lot of that stuff is little tiny stones. It's pumice. So yeah, it's pretty dirty. You can't see a lot. It's very noisy. I think a lot of that noise is stuff hitting the camera as well. But yeah, it's kind of probably not what a lot of people would expect when you put your camera underneath the Waitanui. There's quite a bit more going on than when you just look at it from above. So that was another 3 clips. I can't hear the flies hitting the water or anything in this location. It's very, very noisy. So it's only I've only included the footage where it's going. The flies are actually visible in the frame. One thing that I noticed is, to me, it looks like the water is traveling straight towards the camera, but on pretty much every drift the flies are moving from right to left. So as it drops off this little shelf where the fish sit, the flies, the water's, you know, moving from right to left if you're looking upstream. It was slightly interesting. I kind of had a suspicion that was happening, just because of the angle of the little drop off compared to the rest of the flow, but it just confirms it. I was only able to find the flies on the side facing camera a couple of times. This camera is like facing me on the bank. So yeah, I could find the flies a couple of times in that footage, but I couldn't see any indicator, line, or myself, or anything. The only thing I could find was the flies. So now I head off and I go find a new piece of water, slightly different, to see if things might change. So I've changed location just to see if I can spot anything different, and this is kind of perfect. There's two rainbows right about there somewhere, and I'm actually going to try and catch them, and they'll probably spook, and then I'll put the cameras right where they were, and then I'll be able to see exactly what they saw, see what gave me away. I'm going to try and spook them. I'm just going to fish to them normally and see what happens. So there's a couple of fish right there, two rainbows. I'm going to fish an egg to them with some split shot and see what happens. Generally these fish will spook really quite easily, so it'll be really interesting to see what they saw. Alright, put a cast in. So I got the cast in without them spooking. Fish is calming. Oh, he came and looked. He came and looked. They kind of fought over that one. They didn't spook, but they kind of did some weird stuff. Did some weird stuff again. They're going to look at it, like racing out to look at it, and then going back to position. Come on, spook will do something. I might have to change fly here. They might actually eat it. This is a great cast, right in their wheelhouse. Okay, they spooked. My flies hit the bottom. I set the hook because I thought it was them, and they spooked. So what I've done is I already reviewed a bit of the footage, and the cameras were looking down a little much, so I've tilted both the cameras up slightly. And yeah, let's hopefully this isn't too deep. So I could find the indicator and the leader in a few of these clips. I'm pretty sure this is 8-pound nylon. I can't remember whether it was nylon or fluorocarbon. I'll definitely make note of that if I do this again. But you can actually see that 8-pound fluorocarbon. And then there's definitely 6-pound fluorocarbon on the end of that. And that may disappear. I'm not sure whether, not everyone's got their theory on nylon versus fluorocarbon and visibility, but I mean, the 8-pound nylon is extremely obvious to me in this footage, and that's probably got something to do with sun angle and a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, there you go. You definitely can see the nylon in the right conditions. The forward-facing camera at this location, I could find the indicator in a couple of clips, but I think I had it tilted a little too far up at this time, and I missed it all. One thing that I did notice though is that I'm pretty sure there was an audible note when the split shot was hitting the water. I'm pretty sure I could hear flies landing on a few occasions. So I left this other clip in, which is me entering the water and walking towards the camera, and this shows how audible it is, your footsteps in the riverbed, especially in this kind of substrate, that real pumicy, gravelly kind of substrate. Pretty much my first footstep into the river, which is probably at least 5-6 meters away from the camera, was I could hear. So quiet feet. Hopefully the audio is okay, because I did get my microphone wet when I was leaning down to put the plate in. I dunked this in the water. Anyway, I'm at another spot. I was hoping there was going to be some fish here, but there's nothing. It's pretty barren. I've reviewed some of the footage and it looks pretty, like, on the little screen I cannot see a goddamn thing. In fact, even on the computer I don't think I'm going to be able to see anything. So here the water's a bit slower, a bit wider, a bit stiller. I'm hoping this will reveal a little bit more. And it's also a very spooky location to catch fish from. So this will be the third attempt at seeing what a trout sees when you're trying to catch it. So this last spot I tried was the sort of the slowest and deepest water. It was, there were more laminar flow, everything was a little bit more settled, but you can still see the visibility is, fairly poor for a river that's considered so clear. But the one takeaway I got from this was This is probably the split shot and not the flies. It'll be a lot quieter if I was just using flies, but after having reviewed a little bit of the footage on the GoPros and things like that, I thought I wasn't going to be able to see anything, so I was kind of trying to be a little bit more reckless, I suppose, with my cast and everything, because I wanted to make sure I was going to find something, which I'm glad I did, because it's been super hard to find these little bits in between 5-10 minutes of footage. But yeah, so there's definitely an audible note every time the split shot hits the water, and potentially the flies, so that's something you should definitely keep in mind. But yeah, there's a few shots here from the front and the side. If you listen really carefully at the start of each clip, you'll hear a little pop, which I'm pretty sure is a split shot entering the water. And then this last shot here is I actually snagged the camera, which I was pretty happy about. Another thing that I noticed through this, you know, I was able to get the flies pretty much hitting the camera in the face. I was getting it pretty close on a number of occasions. I probably should have spent more time making more casts to the camera. I only probably gave 5 or 6 casts in each location. I should have done a lot more, and I would have had a lot more footage to pick from, but that was pretty cool that I was able to get the flies right where I thought they were going to be. You know, yeah, so that was good to know. But yeah, I actually hit the camera on this last one, so stoked with that. Boom, right in its face. Another couple of the things I did while I was reviewing all this footage was I've spent probably a good couple of hours looking at this footage in slow-mo, and I've actually been trying to pick up a piece of actual trout food, like a nymph or anything like that. I think I may have found a couple of horned caddis, maybe, but they could be sticks. But I've definitely not found a single item of what I would consider trout food, and given the volume of stuff going past their head, you know, them being able to pick out exactly what they want is quite phenomenal. Like, they must be very, very tuned into their environment to, you know, be able to pick out nymphs from that never-ending conveyor belt of just garbage mostly, so props to them. I think I want to do this on a different river. I actually think the Tongariro is probably a clearer river. There's certainly less debris floating down in it, so I really want to stick the camera, do this again on some different rivers, and some, you know, with a dry dropper or a streamer. I've got a few different ideas on how I can, you know, make this better or learn more from it, or help you guys learn more from it. The other thing I noticed is I myself was not visible in any of the shots. So in this river in particular, I don't think the fish are seeing you ever, almost ever. I was pretty close to that first, the first place I fished to the cameras. I was fairly close, so close that you would think the fish could see you, but he definitely couldn't. So they're definitely picking up and registering your presence in another way, which is probably audible, or maybe not. I mean, they don't have ears, they can't like, shit, what was that? But definitely that lateral line, they're picking you up and being notified to your presence somehow through that. For me, when I go back to this river, I've never really been too worried about them seeing me that much. It's definitely about sound crunching on the bottom. And then also there's a lot of undercut banks. I think you walking on an undercut bank actually probably slightly flexes the bank and pushes some sort of sound or, you know, pressure through the water, and they pick you up somehow, because I've been so stealthy approaching fish on this river, and you barely get a cast in and they're off. So they are pretty, yeah, I mean, this doesn't tell all, but it gives you some indication of what could be happening down there. Oh, I think that's all I took some notes, so I'm pretty sure I've talked about everything I needed to talk about. If you got any questions, leave them and I'll try to address them the next time I film a video like this. I certainly want to do it again. Let me know below if you'd like to see it on a different river or at some of those other scenarios. So I've been meaning to make this video for probably a year, and taking this little break from YouTube, although I'm not really taking a break because here I am, has allowed me to do this. And I've got a bunch more other ideas for some different kind of videos. So yeah, again, let me know in the comment section below if you'd like to see more stuff along these lines rather than just the traditional me going catching some fish, or trying to at least. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. I really hope you got something from it. I certainly did. And yeah, that's it. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.